you once with me. So I'm gonna give you one more chance just to prove what you can be. Any old time you wanna come back, drop me a line, honey. Say no more, you're wrong. You had your chance to play the game. When you left me, sweetheart, you only left the one who cares. Now that you're down, I'm gonna stick by you. You will only tell me your wrong days are through. You'll find me here like the day you left me alone. Any old time you wanna come back home. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah.
All right, play the one with the death row thing, because I didn't get that on tape.
Okay. Well, anyway.
Jimmy Rogers.
So, I had trouble playing that song. And oh my God, you were so fucking rusty. Because, I mean, you know, I was never a great guitar player, but I was a Nashville session musician. And so I was kind of, I mean, I'm sure they played it good enough. It was okay with them, but it was pretty bad. And so I called my brother and I said, you know what, we meet up in Omaha. Bring my old Martin 018 with me, which was made in the 50s, and that's a pretty cool guitar. So he did, and I was plunking around on that thing, and I just was thinking, you know, you can't go too long without playing a guitar. You need to, you know, you're going to lose it, or you need to get it back again. So that's when I thought, I'm getting a goddamn guitar that's so good that I won't be able not to do it. And this is the guitar here. You know how you play that? Are we rolling, Bob?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what does the $5,000 guitar have that this one doesn't? What is the...
There's a $10,000 guitar that has these things. It's the exact same size. Basically, everything's the same. There's a little bit difference on the neck thing. That's supposedly $5,000 worth of neck.
But the key difference...
The key difference was that this particular guitar, which is no longer made, and they never made very many of them. This is a Koa Dreadnought Martin.
Even for $10,000, you couldn't get the one that he's got.
They're not making them.
In Koa.
And so...
So it's got all the cool stuff you wanted, plus it's Koa.
When they put it out, this thing was about $900, which is what I think the guy who owned it before I got it paid for.
But what makes a guitar, I'm asking, what makes that
The
a $5,000 guitar?
Well,
To somebody who doesn't care about color or anything else.
Right.
Okay.
Why?
It's Martin, for one thing.
Martin, it's got the name. It's Rolls Royce. Imagine saying Rolls Royce, not Cadillac.
Right.
Rolls Royce.
But even among the Martins, then, why is that a $5,000?
Because it's a lot of the history. In 1933, Gene Autry ordered a D45. D meaning the...
They're designed the same way as they were originally. That was the history of music.
Is this? It's got all these accoutrements on. It's got this inlay sound hole. It had these fancy inlays on here. It had these gold, whatever you call them, tuning pegs. It had this very same thing on the back. This was not coal wood. It was mahogany. The sides were mahogany. The spruce, the front was spruce. It's all solid wood. It's not. There's no.
But they're still made the same way as they were in the 30s when Martin Guitars established the music sound for country.
They've gotten so good at it now, they're actually better than they were. But
So Hoover went in to get a factory-made spruce top.
D41, which is
$3,000 to $4,000.
Well, they list for 5. The D45 lists for 10. The reason D45 lists for 10 is because they got this kind of inlay all around the edges here, and also on the back, and a bunch of a few other things. But the reason it's so those D45 is the standard by which all flat top guitars are measured, and Martin makes flat tops better than anybody in the world.
Every guitar looks like a Martin.
Between 1933 and 1942, they made a grand total of 91 of those guitars. And then they didn't make them at all anymore for 40 years. And then in the late 60s, the company reissued the Gene Autry D45. And they were, guys who had enough money to buy them, bought them because they just sounded, they had
Ricky Nelson, Elvis.
Everybody wanted that big sound that they could only get, because a lot of it has to do with these interior bracing, which is called whatever the hell they call them. They call them, what do they call those things, guys? Scalloped bracing. The bracing bars are not just pieces of wood across there. They cut them down thin.
But Mikey wants to know how you got such a deal on this Koa wood one.
Well, I think the reason I got such a good deal on the Koa was because this guy paid about $800 or $900 for this thing, kept it for a few years, he's got a bunch of Martin guitars. For some reason that I don't know, and I want to talk to him and ask him why, he puts them back on the rack and sells them on consignment. I don't know whether he gets tired of them or what. And this was one of them, and he moved this from whatever he paid for it up to $1,395. No other guitar in the shop had anything close to this kind of stuff for anything like that kind of money.
Yeah.
The D41 they had in there was
The brand new one.
Brand new one, $3,799.
Didn't have half the aftermarket fix-ups.
And well, it did. It has all of them. The D41 was an invention of Mike Longworth at Martin Guitar, because he said these guys can't afford the D45. D45 is $10,000. Let's make one that's half that price. It's the same guitar, except let's leave the inlay off right here, leading up the neck. Everything's the same here, and then on the back, instead of the big abalone inlay, let's leave it off there. Nobody sees the back. Let's leave all the back stuff off. It's the same guitar, except it doesn't have all the back fancy stuff on it, because when you're looking at it from the front, unless you just happen to notice it doesn't have abalone right there, it's the same guitar, sounds the same, everything. So,
well, I guess that's what I'm asking. I mean, it's like, why would you pay $10,000 for a guitar if you can get the same sound for $5,000 or $3,000?
Well, you get a guy like Stevie Stills probably.
I mean, does a musician carry that